is Jim the Keys bartender. I got Papa Joe on the line. Hey, Papa Joe.
How we doing? I'm here.
You are here. That's good. Yeah, you've been missed by the regulars. Um, we've been none of the shows have been in person since. Gosh, it was the 14th of March, a month ago.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't it? I don't know. To me, it seems like it was 6 months ago.
Yeah, it seemed it's a world ago, um, and things have moved really quickly since then. So, have you traveled? Have you done anything for work since you've been away?
Yeah, the beginning of March, I flew out to, um, golly, where was I? I think Dothan again, Dothan,
Dothan.
Alabama.
We spoke because you were on the show. You were on the last show we did uh, from the Tiki Bar.
Right, right. I think I had just come back from Dothan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I remember because I made the comment that it was the megatropolis of Dothan, Alabama. Um, it's a very laid back town, needless to say.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I did travel, and interestingly, at the time, I thought, well, there's at no more than a third of the capacity at the airports. That many people were not flying, so the airports were vacated for the most part.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of eerie. That's how few people there were, and the planes. There were so few people on the planes that every one aisle had a person in it. So everyone was able to sit apart from each other.
Uh-huh.
And so at the time, I thought, this is great. It alleviates a lot of my anxiety of having to go travel because we're being a nuclear inspector of sorts. We're kind of essential individuals, those essential employees. So about 2 weeks after I got back, there was a news story, I think it was NBC, that in Atlanta, the airport, they flew in a bunch of people from a cruise ship. Don't ask me from where, if it was Key West or if it was somewhere else. And they were contagious. And what the shocking part was, they didn't offload them on the tarmac, put them in a bus, take them to the next flight. No, they went to the ramp, they offloaded the plane, they disembarked, and they just walked through the airport and to their respective flights to go home. And these people were contagious. So then, I had to go call my boss and say, listen, if there's any trips coming up, count me out. Because we have the ability to pick and choose. And I just told them, just count me out until this blows over. I can't risk going to an airport not knowing that I'm walking down a concourse and off one of the ramps comes, 75 people from a contagious ship.
Yeah.
And I just didn't think that was very cool. And so it kind of changed my mind from, well, there's less people here, they're sanitizing everything. This is a safe environment to, holy shit, this is a dangerous environment. I don't want any part of it. So after that trip, I've not gone on any others.
Yeah. Well, you're. I'm in a little different situation. I'm a bartender. They closed a restaurant almost a month ago, about 28 days ago, and a couple last week. I had a family member call me up, and they thought, well, Jim's out of work. Why don't you check to see if he maybe do it? And it's I'd say my niece, and she's going to Singapore to be deployed, and she needed her dog brought back to Baltimore. She's in Washington State, and they were going to do something, and they were going to pay a certain amount to have the dog take it because they didn't want to put the dog on the plane and anything like that. And I go, and for like 30 minutes, I thought, we were saving up for Poland. So, I mean, I'm certainly not in gangbuster shape, but we were saving up for a considerable amount of time to be out of work. So that, with what we may or may not get from the state, should make up the difference for us. But I thought, hey, that would have put me over the hump if I could go and do that. And I thought about that for like 5 minutes, and then, Abby thought I was crazy. And I said, Abby, you don't think I'm turning down an opportunity? And she goes, I don't want you to do it. And I go, okay. Because, flying out there to Seattle and then driving back and stopping at hotels and gas stations and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Every time you travel, you got to worry about a hotel.
Yeah.
Who's staying in the hotel? So, I was traveling during COVID. I had some at the very beginning, and I got to say the hotels were doing the best they could. I mean, you could clearly smell the antiseptic Clorox, and they had Purell everywhere, and they would come in and clean the room, and then they had a crew come in behind and sanitize the room. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the hotels were doing, at least the ones I stay at Hilton's, they were on top of it as best they could. Mm-hmm. But then a lot of hotels have just closed. Mm-hmm. So that makes traveling a little difficult, and it also makes people have to stay only at the open ones, which means there's probably more people at those hotels. So that just kind of, you're working against yourself. Now, similarly to you, when I called my boss and said, I think I'm done with this for a while until this settles, I had talked to Damon, my partner, mm-hmm. and he looked at me and he too said, I don't want you traveling. Mm-hmm. I don't feel safe. And he's right. I owe a responsibility, to my partner not to bring something home. It's the reason why, I FaceTime my daughters so I can spend time with my grandkids. Mm-hmm. And with the family, and they just, I have a daughter that lives up in Homestead, which is like, 20 minutes from here, mm-hmm. but I dare not go. I don't want to go into it. God forbid, so I understand why she said what she said. I get it completely. It's a legitimate concern.
Yeah. Have you seen in your neighborhoods the big groups of people coming down, and on the weekends? How about
say
this
it
past
again?
Weekend?
You broke
Have
up.
You seen big groups of people come down like over Easter weekend?
No. You mean to the Keys?
In your neighborhood.
No, those roadblocks. Oh, yes. I'll tell you this. Large groups of people, no. But they're definitely new faces. That's the great thing about living in the Keys. You know everybody, uh-huh. Especially in your neighborhood or your street. Uh-huh. And there definitely there were some different faces. I think what's happened, Jim, is because Miami has a much higher percentage of COVID-19 cases, mm-hmm. People who have second properties here mm-hmm. They're able to come in because they have properties here. So they go through the checkpoint and they're camping out. And I do notice a few new faces. I won't say it's a lot of people, but yes, there are some. Mm-hmm. And there would probably, damn well, if it wasn't for those checkpoints on Cardsound Road and US 1, the roadblocks, we would have far, far many COVID-19 cases in this county.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's really done a good job.
Yeah. Well, you noticed. What was it? Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh. What was it? It was 2 weeks ago. It was a couple days after they started the closing down the Keys to everyone except residents and essential business people was the state pulled off the troopers from the roadblock, right? They can't participate.
Yeah. Yeah, the state pulled the troopers off the roadblock. I have not yet been told why, but having been a state trooper for 28 years, I can give you my estimated best guess.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular governor probably didn't want his state police, his state troopers, at something that might be considered maybe controversial in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have criticized Governor DeSantis for, reacting too slow, waiting to take his cues on mandates from Washington,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to just doing like other state governors have done and just gotten the job done. Whether that, regardless of how you feel about it, it's my experience that governors, if they perceive that the highway patrol might be doing something that could be for them controversial, they'll ask them to stop. So that would be my number one guess.
It's kind of funny though. He did do that, and then this week he declared the WWE or the WWF an essential business to open up. But
listen,
you know
Jim,
what? If it's just going to be
guy.
two wrestlers in a thing, it's really no big deal. But what?
But how bizarre that wrestling and WrestleMania
Mm-hmm.
are essential, I guess, for entertainment value to keep people from beating each other up in the home, give them something to watch, as if there's not enough on TV. I don't get it.
I have a feeling that we're going to see some nice YouTube videos coming out where people are going to have their own little wrestling matches on in their backyards. I'm sure.
Yeah, the articles are already coming out about the. I don't doubt it, but more specifically, there's articles already coming out that there's a spike in domestic violence since this all started. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, that was one of the reasons that the states were giving for shutting down liquor sales, to try and avoid people going home, drinking, and then beating each other up.
What? Some states shut down liquor sales?
Oh, yeah, some states. That's it. Well, what was it? Was it Pennsylvania that did it?
Really?
A couple of states. Yeah, a couple of states. They just when the stay-at-home order came out, they had a note. I think Alabama, regionally, Alabama might be doing that as well.
No,
because they were like
did?
they were
I
really.
Think I would have seen. I think I would have saw that on my friends' websites. They would have freaked out. Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Listen, if it wasn't Pennsylvania, it was up there somewhere. When you travel, I lose track of what state I'm in. But it's either Pennsylvania or maybe it was New Jersey. I forget.
No.
But there were a couple of states. They started cutting off.
Here we go. Pennsylvania's liquor stores closed.
There you go. I thought I heard Pennsylvania.
Went 19 hours ago. They were frustrating, seeking to buy liquor.
Yeah, well, listen.
I think the only state that closed liquor stores, I don't know why they did it. Oh, so Ohio, okay. Wow. Mind-boggling. Flood of PA customers at Ohio liquor stores. Holy shit. Oh, my God. Until further
there you
notice.
Go.
Oh, my God.
Well.
There's so many. Well, I mean, there's alcoholics that, they're going to go into withdrawal.
Yeah, well, the public excuse was avoiding domestic violence. I think there's another excuse or another reason, and it was an opportunity for some on the Christian right who have commingled themselves with government officials to shut down liquor stores. And I just have a feeling that that's probably an undercurrent behind that. Personally, the last thing I would do is shut down liquor stores. When you have people at home, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I just don't think it's a great idea.
Wow.
And I hardly ever drink.
Wow.
I don't really think it solved them.
No, I know you don't drink. Well, me too. Oh my God, what would happen? I mean, imagine New Jersey, where I am. Oh, you poor bastards.
Yeah, I know. It's
you
tough.
know what?
I mean,
yeah, let me see. Oh Christ, yeah. To go New Jersey liquor stores, you put in Roger Wilco right over to Tacony Palmyra Bridge. It's probably like slammed.
Probably.
Oh. Yeah.
There's going to be a resurgence of moonshine. Watch.
New Jersey liquor stores reopen after being overrun by Pennsylvania. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I had no idea. I didn't think of Pennsylvania to be one of the ones. Many just over the bridge where the state-run liquors have been ordered closed because of corona. Holy shit. Yeah, there's one, Pennsauken and Cherry Hill and stuff like that, right over the bridge where I used to live in Mayfair. Oh my God. So we're up 120% over a normal Friday and Saturday. That's not too much. They were getting social distancing and stuff like that. Pennsylvania closed the liquor stores on March 16th. Wow. Wow, that is incredible. I had no idea. Listen, but I didn't have any of my friends in, well, I guess one of them owns owns a bar, so, but you couldn't buy it. They couldn't buy anything by, wow. I guess they could, would they get to-go liquor or anything like that? What happened?
I don't know.
Wow, no wonder, it's funny, and I didn't tell you this. I've been, almost every morning I was going to a meeting, one of my meetings, and when that happened, I was pretty new back into sobriety the last couple months, but I made it past 3 months, and that's usually like the critical point, and I was sober for 7 years. But I've been attending Zoom meetings. Right?
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, and they're all over the place. And the nice thing about it is that you can go to any, like right now it's 5 o'clock. There's 10 o'clock meetings in the United Kingdom. In a couple hours, there'll be evening meetings on the, there's meetings now on the East Coast, but I could never find a Philadelphia meeting. They must be slammed. I mean, well, first of all, you got people that are going out that were sober, that aren't sober anymore, and the people that are looking. I mean, I can't imagine if you want to get sober, it's a great time to go sober when the liquor stores are closed. But it's really hard to get sober if someone tells you to be sober,
I would imagine. Listen, plus the anxiety and frustration, especially if you have a family, and then with a pandemic going around, if you're struggling, if you're newly sober, I can imagine those are how do you say, tensions that might drive you back to want to start drinking. So I don't, probably not a good time. It must take, correct me if I'm wrong, it takes a lot of energy to sort of overcome those, to stay the course. I would imagine it's that way with any addiction.
Well, I mean,
if you start adding stresses.
Well, when you're in, this is my view, and this is only my view. When you're new to it, like I'm back recently, you're always kind of vigilant. So there being a epidemic, pandemic, no big deal, Actually, it makes us better It makes me better prepared for handling it. I still am a bit of an asshole when I need to be, when I need to be, when I get to be, right? But I have these tools now where I deal with it. And being new back in, you go to a lot of meetings, and missing them, going to Zoom meetings and telling you about that. That's good. Now, if you're old time, let's say you've been sober for years, and you go maybe once a week or once every other week, or you haven't been there in months, that's got to be something, What if your livelihood's affected?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been cruising along. Life's been pretty good. You haven't thought about alcohol or anything like that. Then all of a sudden, the floor falls out from under you.
That must be difficult. And I don't know how some people would get through it. I just thank God for support groups.
Mm-hmm.
But I get my anxieties like today. I went to Publix to do some shopping,
mm-hmm.
And I was very fortunate. I actually found a bathroom cleaner with Clorox in it. It was the only thing with Clorox. Everything else with Clorox was gone off the shelf. Anyway, I did my shopping. Everyone's minding their P's and Q's. They have you come in one door, you have to exit the other door. You can only walk one way up the aisles. Everyone's doing wonderful, except these two old men, probably in their 70s, and they were wearing their face masks in the store. And both of them, as it turns out, end up in front of me as we exit. So we're in a line, right? The two old men in front and then me. And as soon as they get out, they drop their face masks and they start coughing like.
Where's this?
And they didn't know each other either. They're walking.
Were they
out
right
the parking
in
lot.
front of it? Were they in the store still?
Outside the doors.
Right outside the doors.
Right, but there's people walking towards the building. I mean, they're not free and clear. You've got a face mask hanging off your face. Put it back on, cough into your arm, but they just start. But like really bad hacking coughs, and I had to redirect my cart to the other side. I got as far away from them as possible. And I thought, that's they didn't even think to look around to think, is there anyone around me even? And by now we all know that you cough, that stuff, it just carries. And it stays active for quite a long time. It was one of the most irresponsible things I've seen. Just keep the damn face mask on, cough in your arm.
They started coughing outside the store, and they took the face mask off so they could cough. Wow.
Yeah.
I went. The first time I was in the store after the required face mask, right? Well, I was wearing a bandana for like the week before that, but I started wearing a face mask, and I put one of these new ones on.
Right.
And it must have had dust on it or cloth or something like that. And as soon as I put it on and walked in, I sucked in, and all the fibers got into my throat. And I kept the mask on and stuff, but I'm just like trying to suck it in, cough in the dry dust. And I sounded like, I sounded just like it, but I had the mask on. But it cleared out that dairy aisle. It was uncontrollable. Wait, what am I going to do? I'm covering up and doing this stuff. But, going outside the store, I'd wait, go into the middle of the parking lot. You need to do your coughing. There you go. Right outside the door, right where it's funneled in. Inside the door, outside the door, in the aisle, whatever, something like that. There's no place in there for that.
All these old farts had to do was put the mask back over their face, go into the crux of their arm and cough their brains out. But they pulled. I mean, and just they sounded like they had emphysema. They were coughing that they were coughing up a lung.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, I would have normally turned and said something to the effect of, "Hey, please stop that." I would not have been so nice, but there was no time. It was, I got to get the hell out of here. Thank God the wind was blowing that shit away from me. I was upwind of them. So, I just hauled ass to my truck. I loaded all my groceries in the truck, and I turned, and there's one of the old fuckers putting groceries in the vehicle right next to mine. But he must have noticed my fast getaway because he waited at the edge of his car. He had his mask back on, and he wouldn't get close. He waited for me to finish and back up and leave, and then I noticed he loaded his groceries in. So at least he did that, but damn it.
Yeah, well, that's the etiquette part of it. Worrying about how you're going to clear your throat, where you're going to do it. Some people just don't get it. The glove thing. I try to explain the glove thing to people. If you wash your hands and don't touch your face, right?
Right.
And then just pick up things you're going to see. Now, I think this is my etiquette thing. Once you touch something, let's say milk, and it has a date on it that isn't, you know what I mean? It's far enough away, it's not past due, and there's no milk out there because it's almost always gone every time they put it up there. It's yours. Because you have a gloves on doesn't mean you could touch everything. Because once you start touching other things, you could be spreading it when it's on the glove.
Exactly.
Even more so sometimes, because the acidity on your skin breaks it down a little. So if you wash your hands, you don't touch your face, you can walk around. Your hands aren't going to spread it any more than the gloves, as long as you're not touching things. If you sanitize when you go in and sanitize when you go out, you're fine. Don't touch your face and wear the mask.
Right.
The gloves serve a purpose. They work best. Gloves work best for first responders and things like that. When we have to touch other people and things like that. But
but listen, that's a one-time use.
Yeah,
it's a one-incident, one-time use. You got to touch someone, and when you're
done, people driving down their car in their cars are wearing the gloves, are wearing the mask, they're touching everything. If they're asymptomatic, they got it all on their gloves.
Yeah, they're just spreading that shit all around.
Yeah, it's all on their gloves. It doesn't matter. You're touching. If you're wearing it, if you don't put the gloves right before you get in there, just put the gloves on, put them on. Well, that's fine. You could do that. Now I realize that when I go out, I don't have cuts. It's unlikely. It's not going to get your skin. It will not go through your skin.
Right.
I mean.
Yeah, you got to touch a moist membrane, eyes, nose, mouth.
And you can do that with your glove and then pass it on. And once you touch your face with your glove, it doesn't matter. It's the same as your hand. It's just wash your hands. I saw a guy who's a fisherman do it, and he had the right idea. I just seen him. He was kind of really nutty. He was one of the guys originally was saying, "What are you doing? You're making a big deal out of this, blah blah blah." But he's in the back of his truck. I'm looking at him, and he's going to town. He has a 5-gallon bucket of water, and he's just soaping his hands up, and he's soaping his hands up to the mid forearm. Scrubbing really good, and the guy from Publix is standing next to him, looking at him, watching him do it. And I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what the transaction is going on, but it was just kind of funny. And I said, well, I guess he gets it. I said either he's going in or coming out. He's doing the right thing. And maybe he had 2 buckets. That would have been better. He had 2 buckets of water. Would have even been better. So these. I did a whole show where I didn't even talk about COVID-19. Is it possible you could we not talk about it for the rest of the show? You think you can?
Yeah. I can tell you what I was doing at the house today if you want.
Well, I was talking about, and no, you're a cook. You're a normal cook. But have you noticed, and I'm not referring to it, have you been able to get a hold of all the ingredients without talking about what I said? Have you been able to get a hold of all the ingredients and things you wanted?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah,
I noticed that it was hard to get a hold of yeast.
A little easier now,
Yeah.
Jim. When this first broke, you know as well as I do, those meat aisles were empty, and that went on for weeks. But luckily, I have a vacuum sealer, and when I go shopping for like chicken breasts or chicken or steaks, you know, I'll buy an extra one, especially if it's on sale. I'll vacuum seal it and stick it in the freezer, and it lasts forever. So
what's that?
when the meat was empty,
what lasts forever?
yeah, I was actually feeling pretty good. You know, I had a reserve, and then now that there's chicken and there's meat, so there's no. I can find pretty much I want.
Mm-hmm. Well, I noticed it was bread. People are doing a lot of baking and cooking. I did a lot of baking. We had our second round of making key lime pie, and we're doing really good with that. Making our own meringue and all that stuff.
Oh, good.
And Amish cinnamon bread and pound cake. The pound cake was killer. But the bread sucked. The bread sucked because I used a bread maker, and when we ended up getting yeast, there was machine yeast, right? A machine yeast isn't like regular yeast. You know?
How is it different?
I don't know. It just looks different. It's called machine yeast. It's made for bread machines. And I guess they need it a lot longer than, because you ever hear a bread machine go? A bread machine goes like forever. We tried making a.
What was the end result? Did it not rise, or did it rise too much? What was the problem?
Well, I made my own bread with the bread machine, and that the bread, it wasn't very hot, wasn't very good. I thought the flour was bad.
Huh.
Because I noticed the smell in the flour was a little different once I got into the new bag. I didn't think that was possible. And then when I tried making it, we tried making it with the machine yeast, the regular stuff, it didn't come out. And then the bread, we got it to rise and all that stuff, but then it didn't taste that hot. It was just kind of horrible. You know? I don't think it's just, machine yeast just doesn't work. It doesn't, I think you gotta knead it a lot longer to break it down. It was
that could be
shitty bread. I would have to be really hungry to eat this bread. It really was. It was going like this. I go, wow. I felt really horrible. What a waste. But I want to get it right.
Hey.
What?
Yeah, but you cook, and when you try something new and it comes out like crap, hey man, that's why they made a garbage can. That's just the way it goes.
Well, I eat it. Well, I'll try or give it to the piss off some of the people, the raccoons and the possums. You know,
they'll eat anything.
I know. Well, I noticed this too. How the fuck are squirrels and pigeons getting hit by cars? It's either there's not enough traffic, because I see more dead pigeons and squirrels, though not like they're dropping dead from whatever. I'm not going to mention it, but there's nobody on the road, and it's like they're getting lazy. They're just like not getting out of the way, and they're having a fucking little party in the middle of the street, and they're getting hit. You know, these animals are getting hit. There's more animals getting hit than I've ever seen. It's the only ones that have been working is the chickens. the chickens have been on their toes. Because I think when there was a shortage a couple weeks ago, you noticed, I don't know if you noticed, a lot of chickens disappeared from Publix. Not the roosters. The hens disappeared. The chickens, like, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
they
that
did.
would be,
There's
well,
no
listen,
chicken.
you know.
There's no chickens there. There's no chickens. There's a couple
listen.
of them. It's going to take a month or two. Those roosters are going to be awfully lonely, or those chickens are going to be
Eventually
laying a lot of eggs.
Yeah, they'll eventually start eating the roosters, and I hope they do. You know, I am not one for being okay with chickens running around a neighborhood. I just, I don't like them. You know, you can have them in your yard if that's your thing. You want eggs, whatever, but there's chickens everywhere down here. It's like when you walk in Key West and you walk up next to a hedge. Next thing you know, there's 20 frickin' birds in the hedge. Yeah, I'm not about that. But hey, when times are tough, it's a great food source. It's high in protein.
Well, I mean, but you have a problem with the chickens? You don't like the chickens?
I don't like the chickens.
Well, how about mockingbirds?
Oh, I don't mind mockingbirds, doves, ospreys. I just don't like chickens.
Why don't you like chickens? What's about chickens?
I think they're annoying.
You're mad at the chickens?
I don't like them. It goes back to when I was a kid. I didn't like them then either.
What?
I don't like. Hey, fuck! I don't like chickens.
You don't like chickens? How about iguanas?
I like eating chickens.
How about iguanas?
No, can't stand iguanas. All day,
Okay,
all
well,
night.
then I don't have a problem with iguanas. I think they're kind of cool. They're kind of where they hang out. You know, I told you I did those shows with the retired psychologist Joel. There was in Moon Bay, and there was every time I did a show, there was an iguana that would come out like 5 feet away. And we'd get on the rock and just hang out during a show. And I said, Joel, are you down here? It was near their picnic area where they have a couple tables and a fish cleaning station near their docks. And he says, you're down here? He said, I'm down here about 6 days a week having coffee and stuff like that. I said, did iguana come and hang out there? And he goes, nope, it only comes out during a show. So, something about it.
Oh, well.
Yeah, the iguana was a fan of the show. But we don't see as many, you know what, cats. We notice cats.
You know, it's funny. You mentioned the doves, and
Mm-hmm.
it is the mating season, and they're nesting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering if maybe their behaviors, looking for food, having to go closer to the ground, picking up whatever seeds or stuff that they feed, perhaps even branches and twigs, if that behavior drives them closer to the roadways that you're just seeing them get whacked by a car. Because that's the time of year, you know, because right now they're all nesting, building nests, mating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I'm thinking also because there's not as many people out that there's some predators that may get to them too. You know what I mean? Like hawks and that if there's not a lot of people out there on the roads and stuff like that, they feel a little more. They got a freer hand or wing or whatever you want to call it at coming in and swooping down and grabbing them. But yeah, who knows? Who knows what that is? So, but we've been riding our bikes up and down the north and south. What have you been exercising, walking in the neighborhood, doing? So you got your.
Oh, listen, I bought some hand weights. I got a bench and a medicine ball, and
medicine ball.
I've gone back to trying a medicine ball. You know, a weighted medicine ball.
I know, like a 1950s.
Yeah, when you do
gym.
sit-ups.
Yeah.
No, it's a
What,
modern.
you
It looks like
got a punching bag?
No punching bag.
Yeah.
I don't hire a guy with a broken nose to come work me out. I try and lift weights. I try and stay active. And when I wasn't doing that in the last week, I've been building a garden, so I had to. I built it up above the ground.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, I didn't just till the existing ground with soil. I put boards up. It's a 10 by 16 with rails, and I gotta put netting around it, screening to keep the dogs out of it. I just put the irrigation in it today. So it's been a matter. We had to order 5 yards of soil. It's been trucking the soil in the yard back and forth with the wheelbarrow, building the damn thing, and then it's exhausting,
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of hard labor because it's hot as hell outside. Plus, you're bending over and you're lifting stuff and you're picking in the ground.
Yeah.
Had to dig all this stuff up. So for the last couple of weeks, I've been building. I put 3 flower boxes on the other side of the house. I irrigated those. So planted 2 citrus trees. I just noticed UPS dropped off 2 more citrus trees right now in the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do to keep busy. So it's a good workout, shoveling, picking, wheelbarrowing. It's hell.
Well, that's
good.
What
I've been doing.
Oh, that's funny, Joe. Well, you know what? We come to the end of a perfectly good show. I think we're going to end it here. And we'll, if you're available, are you planning to go anywhere next week?
No, I'm not going anywhere for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. You want to? Oh wait. What's today? Wednesday.
It is.
We could do. Well, if you got a time, maybe Saturday or Sunday, we could do a show.
Yeah, just let me know. Saturday would probably be a little better.
Okay. Well then. How about we'll look into a time and I'll check with you on that then on Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, just let me know. Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I'm here, man. I'm around.
Okay, Papa Joe. I'm going to send your phone number to the girl from that free press. Okay.
Sure thing. That sounds good.
Well, I'm going to thank Papa Joe. I'm going to get signing you off right now, buddy. Say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Joe.
All right, we good?
Hey there, I thank Papa. I just cut him off. That's kind of horrible, but thank you for listening. If you want to show some love to the program, go to www. Is that 4 W's or 3 W's? 3 W's, keysbartender.com, and go to sponsors, and our sponsor, Bellissimo Wine. If you like sparkling white wine or Prosecco, and since I found out, if you're in Pennsylvania and you're listening to it, you could order some wine from them since you guys don't have any liquor stores open right now. But I guess that's just liquor stores. I hope that's not just beer and all that stuff. And that really sucks. And what we learned today that Pennsylvania closed their liquor stores and Papa Joe hates chickens. We'll be back next week. Thank you. Next week, probably be back in another hour. Talk to you later. Bye.